actually live?
Hello everyone and welcome to the Sedona International Film Festival. I'm your host Carol Kahn and we are coming live from Facebook and from the Sedona Performing Arts Center. And I'd like to introduce to you two filmmakers. Please tell us your names and your film.
Well, I'm Peter Hutchinson. I'm the director, producer of Healing from Hate. And this is Tony McAleer, who is one of the featured participants in the film.
Awesome. And tell us a little bit about the film.
The film explores the work of life after hate and really explores what draws people into hate groups and what are effective strategies. How do we get people out to rejoin their place as compassionate human beings?
And how, as far as like that particular subject, which like for me, it's kind of unnerving to walk into a situation like that. How is it for you putting all that together?
Well, I really had the good fortune and the privilege of embedding with these guys for that's almost 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
Right? And so I got to see their work from the inside, and if you have the opportunity to see the film, there's a number of interventions that are involved in the film where we are engaging with people who are in the process of making that transition out of hate groups back to sort of mainstream. But I think, Tony can speak a lot more towards what it's like to be in the movement. Tony has that experience from his former life, so to speak. The film primarily focuses on how people get pulled into the movement. What are the sort of the conditions that might set someone up for recruitment into hate groups, and what we find is that a majority of the time, it's not the ideology that brings young men and young women into white supremacist and white nationalist groups. It's the need for belonging, community, a sense of higher purpose. The ideology often, well, I think in most cases, you'd probably say, it's secondary. It comes later, and it's not a driving force behind people's desire to be involved in hate groups.
You said a word, recruitment, which, that kind of just set something in me that I just started thinking about, because I don't look at this as recruitment. Sometimes I think people just kind of join, or they gather together in a group. So is that something that's really viable in this particular situations?
I think so, because having been a recruiter myself, these organizations are very good at finding people with the vulnerabilities, right? It's like Peter said, the ideology absolutely plays a role, but these deeper vulnerabilities, these deeper lacks of meaning, purpose, those types of things are what the draws and what these organizations prey upon. I truly believe that the level to which we dehumanize other human beings is a mere reflection of our own internal disconnection and dehumanization. And they'll seek out those people that are damaged or wounded, trying to find their place in the world.
Is it easy for you to find recruits, if you will, in that kind of situation? Do you know what you're looking for? So is it easy?
I don't know. I think, by trial and error, they become very good at doing it. I don't think there's no textbook or manual,
right.
And the process to follow. You just intuitively know how to meet the needs of a vulnerable individual and draw them into this world.
And I think if you've been in that position where you yourself have experienced that vulnerability, you see it in other young men.
Yes.
You see, one of the common threads for young men who find themselves pulled into hate groups is it's trauma. It's dysfunctional families, and the common age you hear time and time again is 13, right? And I think any man who looks back at that time when they were 13, there's an inherent vulnerability in your development as a young man when you're 13. You're looking like just evolutionarily as a young man, developmentally, you're looking for belonging and connection, and that's where sports teams come in. That's where gangs come in. That's where, you know, I often think like some of these kids, they could have been recruited by the chess club, right? If the right person had come along and said, hey, we really see something valuable in you, you'd be great on the chess team. But instead, like, you know, they're brought into this other world. And now it's taken on a whole different sort of face. It's, you know, the recruitment's online. And so much of the activity, it's not centered around people gathering together in person. A lot of it's happening in chat rooms, a lot of it's happening, you know, with IMs, a lot of it's happening even with lone wolves, which is, you know, something that Tony played a very interesting role in terms of his activity with hate groups. I mean, he was one of the first sort of early adapters to use the internet to recruit and to transmit, you know, white supremacist ideology.
Yeah, this is really interesting. When I'm talking about probably the 80s, like I grew up in New York, so I was never experienced other than gangs, right? That's the experience that you have growing up in the Bronx or a city like that. But then moving to North Carolina, it was the first time in my life that I was ever exposed to like the KKK. And like, to me, I almost thought, oh, that doesn't exist, because, you know, city girl coming to somewhere like North Carolina, I almost didn't believe that could exist in this time. And that was in the 80s, you know, and now you fast forward to, you know, this time in history now, and it's, you know, still very prevalent.
Well, we've seen a resurgence. I mean, there's been a backlash in a lot of respects the last 10 years.
And the internet really speeds up the process of radicalization or indoctrination. In the 1980s, when I was involved in organizations, you had to go to a meeting and then you maybe order a book and it would come 6 weeks later. And it took months and years to fully radicalize. But now you can binge watch an ideology in a weekend, you know, and it's weeks and months, if that, from when a person starts off to becoming fully radicalized. That the time's compressed, which it makes it scary.
Now, we do have a clip of your film that we would like to show, so let's take a look at that right now.
Sure. All right.
So one of the things in doing the film, what came out for you? Like, what was there anything surprising that you weren't aware of, or what stood out?
Oh, it was, yeah. I mean, it was a world that was really completely foreign to me, and much to your point earlier, it's, you know, I live in New York. I live in a bit of a bubble, and I think it's you don't have a lot of opportunity unless you travel and you explore and you have an interest in meeting people who are different than you and have different ideology. I mean, there's not a lot of opportunity for it. But I think what came out of it the most for me is, you know, I have these genuine, very deep friendships that have evolved out of working with these amazing men from Life After Hate. And there's this approach that they embrace that really puts a huge amount of focus on compassion and empathy, even for people who may think differently than you, may look differently than you, may have fundamentally different assumptions about life than you. And I think I have come to carry something very, very valuable with me from my experience with these guys, which is to see the humanity in other people, regardless of what their overt behaviors might be, regardless of what their political philosophies might be, regardless of some of the acts that they have committed, in their lives. And I think that's it's a really important. I find that it's a gift, I believe, that I've been really given as a result of working on the film.
Well, I think what it does too, it allows you to acknowledge other people's, just like you said, other people's feelings, their thought processes, whatever it is, without trying to place judgments on them for their thoughts, and understanding. That's where the compassion comes in.
That's right.
Understanding where they're coming from and what their life was like and how they are at this point in their lives and their thought process.
Yeah, that's right.
So how can people find out about your film? Is it showing again here in Sedona?
It's showing today.
Yeah, we screen our first screenings today, which is Thursday, and then we screen again on Saturday.
Awesome.
So there's 2 opportunities to see the film.
Okay, great. And how can people find out about your film? Do you have a website?
We do. It's Healing From Hate. Is it healingfromhatefilm.com? Healingfromhatefilm.com.
There's so much going on. Well, thank you both for being here. I really appreciate it, and discussing your film and bringing this to Sedona. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having
Thanks
us.
for having us.
It's great.
Yeah.
All right, and we'll be back with more from the Sedona International Film Festival after this.